Keys to beating the Vols.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. He's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We got Oklahoma, Tennessee, Saturday night. It's going to be a great one, prime time on ABC with a great crew calling the game with Kirk Herbstreit on the call, Holly Rowe on the sidelines. It's going to be fun to watch. As we dig deeper into this game, Jay, let's talk offensive football. That's what we love to talk about with Oklahoma. So what is a key to this game for the Sooners?
To me, on the offensive side, you've got to get the offense humming early, and you've also got to play the short game, right? We've talked about this over the last few weeks in getting Jackson Arnold comfortable. If you do get a Nick Anderson, possibly an Andrel Anthony, I've heard he's been practicing. We'll see if it's true. But if you get some of those veteran receivers back, play the short game, take your time. There's no reason to rush in this game. You don't need Jackson Arnold to make way too many decisions today. It's only it'll be his 5th start of his career. Play the short game, and let's win it by controlling the clock as much as possible. That short game should help open up the wide receivers and their routes, and then it should open up the run game. Overall, if we get the players back that at the health that we've been needing, taking your time to me is critical.
Yeah, I think what we saw in the Tulane game was a really solid game plan just to get things going early in the game. Get your quarterback comfortable. And it was a lot of the short, quick passing attack that Seth Luttrell and Jackson Arnold kind of unfolded, and it worked. It was very effective. And then it did help the running game open up a little bit more. You know, you don't have to play that with tempo. You can go no huddle and still control the clock. I think that was the thing that Jeff Levy missed out on a little bit during his tenure. Is like, you can go no huddle, but you don't have to burn all the clock, or you don't have to have minute drives. You can take 3, 4, 5 minute drives. Yeah, always
go in tempo. You don't have to always go tempo.
Yeah, I really like the idea of using the quick passing game to get things going, get Jackson Arnold comfortable, and also to kind of neutralize the pass rush a little bit, because we know that Tennessee has a really good defensive line led by James Pearce. At the same time, they only have 4 sacks. So the best way to neutralize a good pass rush, get the ball out of your quarterback's hands really quickly. I think having Branson, Hickman back, having Troy Everett back, getting some veterans along the offensive line to supplement the talented dudes that you've got in Jacob Sexton and Fabechi Wiwu and the stabilizing force that is Michael Tarkin, I think that's going to help open up some things in the running game. We've seen Jovantae Barnes look the best of any of the runners. If you can continue to get him going downhill, get him into some creases, let him churn out some dirty yards, I think that's going to benefit everybody in the offense. But I think ultimately it comes down to feed Dion Burks. Get the ball,
feed him in space.
Get the ball to your best playmaker.
Yeah, I think it's getting those guys the ball in space is what's going to be most important, right? I would like to see a lot of 2-back sets. Get Taylor Tatum out there. Let him play in space as well, because he does well in space. Get him in space. Let Jovantae Barnes be the back that everybody thinks is going to run it. I mean, I know technically whenever you have Tatum in the game, it kind of means that he's probably not going to be blocking because he hasn't been the best at it so far. Something that he'll improve on, especially when it comes to scheme. But getting the ball in space to your playmakers, right? Yeah. The one thing I talked about not too long ago over on my live is one thing you can do is because J.J. Hester, based upon the depth chart, J.J. Hester is your other wide receiver next to Nick Anderson or Brennan Thompson, right? What you can do is you can send them out in a fly, send them out deep, let Burks play on the underneath with them. Same thing with a Bauer Sharp or even Jake Roberts. But if you have Bauer Sharp out there playing underneath as well, get one of the running backs out there to the flat. Start doing some dumps. Push their secondary back, because they're going to have to respect certain players deep, right? You can bring Hester in on a deep dig and let Burks go deep, they're going to have to respect Dion Burks going over the top, right? If you do that, you can start playing where you can start picking them apart with quick little passes where once that corner turns their back, boom, get to that running back, let the running back outrun the linebacker room. I think that's probably going to be most critical. And like you said, you don't have to always run tempo, but leverage some tempo to get that defensive line tired. Defensive linemen don't like that. Now, they are probably used to it because that's what Heupel does. While at the same time, it's impossible to be always used to, getting exhausted. You may not run the tempo on the first 2 drives, but as the 3rd and 4th drive hit, oh yeah, go ahead and hit them with a little bit of tempo.
And so much of that's going to come from being successful on first down. If you get yourself ahead of the chains, that's going to allow you to do the things that you want to do. And I think your point about continuing to run those 2-back sets, you can do a lot of really nice things out of that. Even if Taylor Tatum isn't going to run the ball, you can still motion him out to the flat and then hand the ball off to Jovantae Barnes. You can use some of that misdirection to get the Tennessee Volunteers thinking, like, hey, here's a dude that's really, really talented that's able to make people miss in space. I better make sure that we're aware of that guy. Oh, okay, Jovantae Barnes is running the halfback dive or inside zone and getting downhill. So I like that idea. I'd like to see them run some mesh with Burks and a Taylor Tatum coming out of the backfield because you get those 2 guys running crossers and it's going to really stress the defense because of their speed and their ability to make plays in the open field. One thing we haven't seen a whole lot of is the deep shot to Dion Burks. I think maybe they've been kind of saving it in their back pocket a little bit. We've seen some stuff down the sideline, the 20-yard range or so. But I think this is going to be the week where we start to see the deep post or the from the slot where we see Dion Burks really, really pushing everything down the field. And hey, this is the time for Jackson Arnold to really step up. And I think Jackson Arnold has to play the best game that he's played so far this year.
Yeah, and John, when you're saying that, it lines up. If we get the lineman back that we've been needing critically, this should be Jackson Arnold's best game, right? If he gets the guys that he's been used to practicing with now, I mean, he probably ain't been used to practicing them over the last couple of weeks, but at the same time, the guy he's been working with since spring, if he starts to, you see Troy Everett out there, you get Branson Hickman back, and you're able to play the players with the most career snaps all together, you're going to see a better product, right? Yeah. And then still be able to have the young guys come rotate in for certain plays that you know that they'll be successful on just to give those breaks against that physical defensive line that Tennessee has. This should be where, Jackson Arnold gets more comfortable. Now, I think the biggest thing is the running backs are going to have to really step up on their blocks, right? If the play design is for you to go hit your guy and then break off, right, on your block, you're supposed to read if it's a blitz or not. If not, then you break off. You kind of like, chip the edges or whatnot, but you get to the flat. They're going to have to get to those flats a lot quicker than they normally do. That way, Jackson has the ability to boom, boom, and immediately dump that off if he needs to, so that he's not sitting there feeling congested with the pocket collapsing on him. Mm-hmm. There's a good chance he's going to have a lot more cleaner pockets because I don't honestly think Tennessee's going to do a ton of blitzing. I can totally see them thinking that their forefront is strong enough that they can just going to send them only. Mm-hmm. And that's going to give us some opportunities because as good as their forefront's going to be, I think our offensive line can hold them in some plays, in enough plays to where Jackson Arnold can make some because they're going to be watching for J.A. doing some scrambling. Seth Luttrell probably is going to have some design runs in there, and Venables is going to say, hey, get that man out there and let him go juke a few guys. If that's going to be the case, Tennessee's going to be wary of that. So I don't know about the blitzing, but I think they may be overconfident about their defensive line being able to muscle our offensive line.
Yeah, I think Jackson Arnold played a smarter game last week against Tulane than what we'd seen the previous week against Houston. Aside from the late throw over the middle to the linebacker that was right there to cover Dion Burks, I thought he played a really, really smart game. He ran the ball really, really well. His read option stuff was really good. I thought he didn't put the ball in harm's way otherwise. He wasn't forcing a lot of throws. And that's the kind of performance I expect to see out of Jackson Arnold this week. Again, let your defense help you. Don't feel like you got to get all the points on every single drive. Let your defense help you. I think, again, we're going to see the best Jackson Arnold that we've ever seen in this game against Tennessee. What are the keys to victory for the Oklahoma Sooners defense? We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. SEC season is here, Jay. You may not have time to go to Home Field Apparel to get your gear for Tennessee, but there's still plenty of time for Auburn, for the Red River Showdown, for Ole Miss, all these great road trips that Oklahoma is going to go on. You got to go to homefieldapparel.com.
Yeah, Home Field Apparel, they're gearing up all the fans, man. They're hooking us up with some cool gear. Like, for example, this coach's jacket that I've got. One of the best out there. Barry Switzer was walking around in it because he used to rock this on the sidelines. These are some of the gears that you can get over at homefieldapparel.com right now. On top of that, they've got their boxes, right? The boxes are with some limited edition, 3 never-before-seen items for your school that you can rock, and they're not going to be available anywhere else. Once those boxes are gone, they are gone forever. And then the platinum boxes get you some VIP stuff, a koozie, a hat on top of it. Plus, you're going to get 20% off and early access on your school's releases for the rest of the year. So you got to jump on that before that box is out. But definitely hit up homefieldapparel.com. They are hooking you all up with some nice gear, and you can use our code Sooners24.
Yep, go to Sooner24. Use Sooner24 at homefieldapparel.com to get the best discount on the best vintage apparel at homefieldapparel.com. The Oklahoma Sooners defense has been the strength of this team through 3 games. What are you expecting to see out of this unit this weekend, Jay?
The most important thing for this unit is that the Tennessee offenses, the way it's said, it's Heupel and Levy, similar offenses. They have little wrinkles and differences with like Lane Kiffin and influences from Mike Leach, etc., so on and so forth. It's all about running the ball. And Tennessee is all about running the ball. They're number 3 in the country in rushing yards right now, in just raw yards, 336 yards per game on the ground. John.
It's really good.
336 yards on the ground with averaging almost 7 yards per carry. They like to run the ball. They have over 1,000 yards rushing this season. They love to run the ball. And since that's the case, our defense is going to have to step up. That's the good thing for us is we've been doing pretty well on the rush defense. You know, Tennessee is one of the better ones. They've only given up like 55 yards per game and roughly 67 total. So their defense is playing, but we're only giving up 77 yards per game, 77.67 to be exact, at 223 yards total over this entire season. It's pretty darn good. Only giving up about 2 yards per carry. Probably the biggest strength of this team. So, John, if there's anything we have to do is cut that 336 down to about 100. We can do that. Yeah. Might be a game changer.
I mean, if they can hold Tennessee to 100 yards rushing, Oklahoma wins this game. But,
100%.
I mean, Nico Iamaleava is a great quarterback, but if Tennessee does not have a running game, I don't think he can do enough yet to carry Tennessee to a victory. I think he's a very talented dude, and he's probably going to be a Heisman finalist one day. I just don't know if the offense is set up for him to carry this team just yet. You know, they've got a really good offensive line. They've got a couple really good wide receivers. Again, the running game is the focus. And if Oklahoma can slow it down a little bit, even 150 yards rushing, I think that's going to play right into what Oklahoma's defense wants to do, which is get after the passer. So much of this is going to be, how does Oklahoma win on first down? Do they win first down? If they can get Nico and this offense into a 2nd and long, a 3rd and long, that's going to be so critical and so huge to give them an opportunity to just rush the passer. And if they can do that, I think it bodes really, really well for them. You know, I think the cornerback group, Kenai Walker, Des Malone, they played really, really good against Tulane. They're going to have to keep that same intensity, keep that same attacking mindset to go after footballs in the air and really challenge this Tennessee wide receiver crew. Don't let Nico have any easy completions on the outside. There are going to be some. He's going to hit some, easy completions in zone coverage where he'll get opportunities to allow Squirrel White to catch and run, and Dylan Sampson will catch some out of the backfield and he'll run too. But anytime that they're locked up in man coverage, got to come through. And if those guys can play the same way they played last week against Tulane, then, man, I'm feeling great about this. And so much of it's going to come down to a complete defensive performance. But I think Oklahoma's perfectly capable of just showing up and showing out on defense this year.
Yeah, and Nico likes those deep digs. He does a really good job of leading his receivers to where he wants them to go. But the thing is about him, and I'm going to say this is absolutely no shade to him. I'm happy we're seeing him now rather than in November. I've said this before to people, and I'm telling you, as he progresses as a quarterback in this game, in Heupel's system, dude's going to be lethal over the next couple of months. He's got 4-game stretch that I feel like is going to really mold him into what he's going to be going forward. You mentioned him as a Heisman candidate. Next season, he will be a Heisman candidate. Mark my words. And I say that because this year, he's not putting up the numbers to be a Heisman candidate at all. Think about it. When they played Iowa and won that game 35-0 in the bowl game, he only threw for 151 yards. The run game is what was dominant. Dylan Sampson was out there eating them, 20 carries, 133 yards. This season, they have more rushing yards than they have passing yards. And Nico has about 698, where they have a total of 909. Look at it in that capacity. They're not using him much, and they don't have to, which is the best part of the offense. It's full-fledged complementary offense. So for us, Nico is not the problem right now. 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. And his 2 picks were kind of egregious. They weren't very good passes. Like he lets it sail every once in a while. And the way that we play with our safeties high, Robert Spears-Jeans is going to have an opportunity to get him some more picks. But the thing to keep in mind in this game for this defense, if we bottle up the run game, not shut it down completely, but at least bottle it up to where they're not getting anywhere near 200 yards in this game, they're going to have to start leaning on Nico more. And if they lean on Nico a little bit more, I think our experienced linebacker room and secondary, it's going to give them problems.
Yeah, Oklahoma's defensive line has to win. They have to win. I mean, that's where it's going to start for the Sooners. They've got to keep that linebacker crew clean. If they do that, Danny Stutzman, Kobe McKenzie, they'll have a really nice day, defending the run. I like what Oklahoma's got at the defensive tackle position. We're seeing the emergence of R. Mason Thomas. Ethan Downs is as solid of a run defender as you'll find in college football. If they can hold up in the run game, Oklahoma wins. They really do. Like, if they can slow down Dylan Sampson, they can slow down this Tennessee Volunteers running game, they're going to win the game because, again, Nico's a really, really good player, but he doesn't want to be sitting in 3rd and long situations against Brent Venables' defense. He just doesn't.
Not at all. He doesn't.
That's not going to be an enviable position for anybody.
At all. You remember the last time that Brent Venables and Josh Heupel battled each other as offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator? Do you remember? A lot of people don't know this.
Russell Athletic Bowl.
Russell Athletic Bowl. Clemson won that game 40-6. They gave up a total of 275 yards. Oklahoma could only get 275 yards, where Clemson had just under 400 yards, at 387 yards in that game. They had Trevor Knight in a whirlwind. And remember, Trevor Knight went out there and beat Bama in a bowl game, right? So it's not like we're talking about a Trevor Knight that wasn't very good. Clemson had Josh Heupel's set up. Now, Josh has evolved a lot since then. So has Brent Venables. And now we've got Zach Alley, who, we're rocking an Alley We Trust shirt today because this defense, critical. It's critical on him. And I think this is going to be his coming out party. This is going to be the game where people are going to see, oh, shoot, Brent Venables really does have a dude back there calling them plays. Oh, gosh, we got to pay attention to this, don't we? We do, don't we? I think this is the game.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a coming out party for the Oklahoma football program as a whole.
Yes.
So many people, we talked about it on our show yesterday, so many people are picking Tennessee, writing the Sooners off, talking about how they're not ready for this. They're going to surprise a lot of people. I mean, listen, Tennessee's a good team. I'm not here to say that they're not a good team. Oklahoma's a good team too.
Yep.
And for anybody that thinks they're not, you're going to be in for a bit of a rude awakening. We're going to give you our predictions for this game coming up on Locked On Sooners.
You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And of course, right now, you're looking at the spreads. Oklahoma's sitting at about 6.5-point dogs at home. The number seems like it's going down. Well, we've got something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, FanDuel, all customers that bet $5. So go ahead and put that $5 on Oklahoma plus 6.5, and you'll get 3 weeks free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then you'll be able to use your YouTube TV base plan. You can watch all the every regular season, Sunday afternoon, out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. So just visit FanDuel.com, and you can download America's #1 sports book and take advantage of that promotion by putting $5 on Oklahoma plus 6.5.
So before we get to our predictions here in a second, Jay, what is an SEC matchup that you're looking forward to? I'm really, really excited to watch Auburn, Arkansas, and that might be the fact that, okay, Oklahoma plays Auburn next, but also right. I'm kind of ready for some Auburn disaster to occur.
That is an intriguing thought there, right? Arkansas Auburn's probably the one game this week that jumps out the most to me. I am curious to see if Florida bounces back or if Jeff Lebby and his fighting Mississippi State Bulldogs fight back instead.
That's a sickos game of the week right there.
That has got to be the sickos game of the week. I mean, my goodness. And Florida's a 6-point favorite out there in Stark Vegas. How they going to get out to Stark Vegas out there and be a favorite? That's not a good thing. But those two are probably, well, they're the only 3 games this week for the SEC, but I think I'm with you. Arkansas and Auburn's interesting, mainly because Arkansas has shown us some glimmers of a really good team, especially a good offense. I'm curious to see if they can go out there to Auburn and, I mean, who's Auburn's quarterback? Do they even know?
Yeah, I think they're rolling with Hank. From what I understand, Hank Brown, right? That's
okay. So Hank Brown is going to be the guy, right?
They're going to go ahead. That's going to be the guy this week. But that's who they rode last week, and to good success. So, but hey, maybe they go back to Peyton Thorne. I don't know. I just think this is going to be a fascinating matchup because Taylon Green has looked really, really good at times, and then he's had some moments where he's like, okay, that's not so great.
PU.
I think one fan base is going to be melting to the ground after this game, and it very well could be Auburn. It very well could be Arkansas. I think it's a coin flip who wins it. I think Vandy at Mizzou is kind of interesting. Listen, Vandy hasn't looked the same since they beat Virginia Tech, but could they find a little bit of magic this week against the Tigers? Probably not, but I'll be curious to see how that one goes.
Look, if Pavia decides that he wants to have another breakout game, that's the one. Go out there. You saw what Boston College was able to do when they couldn't make the right decisions. They had Mizzou on their heels. I'm here to say that Vanderbilt, that they're 20-point dogs right now, might be worth jumping on. I feel like Vanderbilt's team's a little bit better than people are giving them credit for this year, and they may go out there and bring some pain on people.
No, they took a bad loss to Georgia State last week.
God, that was an awful loss on the road.
Time to bounce back. Time to get that bounce back going with Clark Lee. All right, let's get to Oklahoma, Tennessee. Jay, how do you feel like this one's going to go for the Sooners?
Yes, this is a Homer channel. We talk Locked On Sooners. We're Sooners fans. We're talking Oklahoma 100%, right? But I'm realistic too, right? I see what Tennessee has and what they're capable of, but at the same time, I haven't seen them at their full potential yet. We don't know what Tennessee's ceiling is right now. They're looking really good on the field, but we don't know what the ceiling is. They haven't been pushed. They haven't really been challenged yet. We're coming in with a very good linebacker unit and secondary. That spread just does not look right to me. I'm definitely taking Oklahoma plus the points in this. And to be honest, I'm going to go to money line. I think Oklahoma can pull this out. I think it's going to be like 28-24. I think no matter which team wins, is Tennessee wins or Oklahoma wins, it's going to be within a 4-point range. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because Tennessee is still trying to figure out what all that they have, especially with Nico, because they haven't had him have to lead them anywhere yet. They've been so dominant. It's just been hand the ball off. The running backs are going to do everything. So if we can make it them one-dimensional and make Nico beat us with his eyes and his arm, not his legs. We don't want him scrambling or running. But with his eyes and his legs, I think that we have a chance of actually winning this game this time around. Again, I said if this was November, I'd be a lot more nervous.
This is Nico Iamaleava's first road start in his career.
Yep.
It's his first start against an SEC team. Now, SEC fans are going to be out there like, Oklahoma's not an SEC. No, Oklahoma's in the SEC. They're an SEC team.
SEC.
This is going to be the toughest defense that he's faced this season. You could argue that maybe it's even tougher than the Iowa defense they faced at the end of last year. You can maybe argue it. You can argue it's a better team than what.
Yeah, you got a team with an actual offense, so technically, yeah.
So the pressure, there's going to be more pressure put on this young, talented 5-star quarterback. Much like a lot of people are talking about with Jackson Arnold. They're in similar boats. This defense is going to be really, really good. Do you have a thought?
As you say that, real quick, as you say that, Iowa's always been a really good pass defense, not really a good run defense. That's what they're known for. Their corners, their secondary, the linebackers always have really good in the pass. I mean, they held Nico to 151. But they've never had the girth up front on the defensive line to where they have edges, but never defensive linemen to really stop and stuff the run. That may be something to think about with that one. Please continue.
Oklahoma's defensive tackle group is going to be the difference in this game. From Jaden Jackson to Dominic Williams to Dejon Terry, Grayson Halton, a little bit of David Stone mixed in, and some Ashton Sanders. That's going to be the difference in this football game as those guys hold up the point of attack and keep the linebackers clean. They take on the double teams, allow Danny Stutzman to roam free, allow Kobe McKenzie and Kip Lewis to run free, allow Kendall Dolby to do what Kendall Dolby does and just go make plays. It's going to keep Tennessee's offense in check just long enough for Oklahoma's offense to find enough scoring. And I'm with you. I think it's going to be a really, really tight football game. And I've got Oklahoma winning 20-20 or 23-20. I've been saying it. I said it with Spencer McLaughlin for Locked On College Football earlier in the week. I said it at Sooners Wire on our predictions for our staff predictions on Thursday. I'm saying it again. I'm triple downing on it. Oklahoma 23-20 beats the Volunteers, shocks the world. Comes out on top, stays undefeated at 4-0, heading down to Jordan-Hare Stadium the week after.
Let's get it.
Boomer Sooner. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. Let us know your predictions in the YouTube comment sections. Hit us up over on Twitter at Locked On Sooners or Facebook at Locked On Sooners as well. Or you can join us in the Locked On Sooners Insider Program by texting 405-817-6711. Again, that's 405-817-6711 to join the Locked On Sooners Insider Program. You will get 2 weeks for free where you can interact with us, but let us know your score predictions as well. I've been seeing some in the YouTube chat throughout the week. A lot of people super high on Tennessee. I think that sets up for maybe a little bit of a letdown. I don't know. We'll find out.
So much.
It's going to be a really, really fun weekend, and I think Oklahoma's going to have a great game. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We cannot wait to break it all down with you here on Locked On Sooners. Boomer
Sooner.